All right, my name is Robert Constant, and I am the author of Hey Tuskegee, 2018, and Hello Grandmother. Hello Grandma, 2019.
Still all the time.
I'm Robert Constant, and I am the author of Hey Tuskegee and Hello Grandma.
Writing is a form of creativity. So when did your creative side reveal itself?
I would say that started most likely in 7th grade. I was in Miami, Florida, and had an opportunity to write some personal stories, and I went home and just started thinking about some things, and I was just excited when I started putting pen to paper of all the creative things that were being generated. And I think that was the first time that I said, man, this is something I would love to do at some point. But I would always write, whether it be poetry or just short stories, and I just kept it to myself until recently, when I decided that it was time to really put a story out there.
The first book that you've written and got published was what?
Hey Tuskegee. That was my first book. Came out January 2nd, 2018.
So how does a kid from New York, Miami, by way of Bahamas,
you got it,
get exposed to Tuskegee University, one of the most prolific HBCUs in existence? How does that happen?
Yeah, so I actually have some family ties. My great-grandaunt played tennis at Tuskegee. She wasn't a student, but obviously back in the day when black folks could not play on the U.S. Open circuit, they would have to play in certain places like Tuskegee, which was known as being like the birthplace of black tennis. They would hold tournaments there, and she was able to win a couple tournaments. She's from the Bahamas, and I think that experience really helped to influence some other folks in my family, because Tuskegee was a place that was known for excellence. And so my cousin, who was a veterinarian, went to Tuskegee for undergrad and grad school, and he's one of the top veterinarians in the Bahamas.
Where did the love of reading come from?
The love of reading comes from my family. They were readers. I've always been around a lot of different books, and so reading for us was a way of not just learning but escaping. To be able to read a story about a place you've never heard or seen or thought of, that to me is one of the beauty of having a book and being able to immerse yourself in this book in a certain way.
Has it always been a connection to black history, not just from the Americas, but in the Bahamas as well?
Yeah, I think so, because the folks that came before me, I don't think they were necessarily setting out to make black history, but I think they always knew that they wanted to see their best selves. And so they did what they could with what they had to excel. So if you didn't have a school, but you had books, you read. If you wanted to create a new business, there's no Walmart in the Bahamas, but you can start with your own small little shop and build from there. So I come from people who were doers, people who didn't sit on the sidelines and say, it would be nice to have this or to do that. They made things happen, which I think absolutely influenced me. So when the opportunity came up to write the first children's book about Tuskegee, the first officially licensed children's book about Tuskegee, I jumped on it.
I want to go back to speaking about your aunt and her tennis endeavor. So, I believe you wrote here that she was a part of a doubles team.
Yes.
Back in 1937.
Yes.
Which was, that was 30 years before the Civil Rights Movement.
No question.
So, were you able to ever speak to her about what that experience was like?
Unfortunately, no. When I was growing up, she was getting up in age, and Tuskegee and her athletic prowess, I didn't even know much about it until after she died.
Okay.
Yeah, so once you start reading her bio, and you go, wait a minute, she played at Tuskegee and nobody thought to tell me this? But my family's the type of family that's like, listen, I mean, it is what it is. We all do some great things, and that was just something that, we didn't really talk about that much. She did it, and she was excellent at it, but she didn't brag. They're not braggers.
Yeah. So that's not the only thing that she was, that she excelled in. That's not the only thing that she was passionate about. I see that she was also pretty active.
Oh, no question.
Women's
Suffrage movement in the Bahamas, yeah. She was very active in that. Absolutely. Very active in that, and trying to make sure that obviously women had the right to vote and equal rights. I mean, she was part of a generation of women who were tough. I mean, they knew what they wanted, and they knew the odds were stacked against them, but that didn't stop them. And so they excelled in anything that they put their time and resources into. And she was one of those women. And so I sure hope I have some of that DNA in my blood.
And she's got some royalty.
She was knighted. Yeah, she was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II based on her athletic prowess and the fact that she was part of the women's suffrage movement there. That was a big deal for the country, and so she was the first woman from the Bahamas knighted.
Let's get to the book. Talk to us about Hey Tuskegee and how that concept came about.
Yeah, that concept came about because I was actually reading a children's book about Rutgers University, probably 11, 12 years ago. And I was reading the book to my son. And I love books like that because it's talking about the university and some of the history and some of the fun things that people do on a campus, on university campus. And as I'm reading it, I'm thinking to myself, why don't we have something like this for Tuskegee? And the first thing I said is, they should write one for Tuskegee. Well, as I started thinking about they became me, because why wouldn't I take that on? And so I was proud to really take a stab at it. A lot of folks said that you may be able to write a children's book about Tuskegee, but Tuskegee will never endorse it. Tuskegee will never say, I think this is a great idea and we want to help you officially license the book. But that's what we were able to do. It took some time. But we were able to get it done because I think we were working with some good people who understood that this book is bigger than just one individual or an administrator. This was something that we were trying to create for Tuskegee folks that we can share in our community and then help spread the word about how unique Tuskegee, Alabama is to American history, period. We know it's Black history, but American history, that little small town played a huge part in America.